Yo, what's up, guys? It's Cry here today. I'm going to be showcasing very clever Plasmoth, which is one of my favorite Loomians to use right now because it really checks a lot of stuff that really sucks against my team, like stuff like Zulong, T-Clips, and what's that? Soulburst Metronet, which are all very annoying. But here are the stuff on the screen. You could just pause it and check. But other than that, let's get to it. Obviously, he leads off with Zulong. I lead off with Joltooth. Now, for some reason, I go for Primal Slash, which doesn't kill, because also, for some reason, he's running Archaic Pearl on his Zulong, which is also kind of annoying because, you know, I wanted to one-shot this thing and keep Joltooth on the field, but obviously that didn't go as planned because he's running Archaic Pearl, and he did end up hitting me quite hard because of the secret ability, or at least I hope it's secret ability. Now, surprisingly, I ate that elemental burst though, like it was nothing, despite only running a whopping 0 on my range defense. Then again, Joltooth is pretty bulky, but I'm obviously going to switch into Plasmoth right here because Plasmoth is really great at dealing with a bunch of ranged wall breakers like Zulong, Metronet, and stuff like that. Not to mention, it could just hit them super effectively, and it has some pretty good coverage as well. I don't have Energy Break because I didn't have it in my rally, so it's kind of just replaced by Energize, which is kind of useless. Now you see how he's gonna go for that elemental burst. That elemental burst, because you're running Be Clever, it's a 4 shot, and with Milkshake, it's a 5-hit KO. So you're just set for life with this thing. And then I'm just going to Flash and Flee out because, as I said, this is a fast pivot. This is a fast tanky pivot Loomian, bro. This is like a rare kind of a species other than Dropper Youth Elephage, which doesn't do the job half as well because it's it's just very frail because I think it's 55 HP. Now, obviously, right here, my friends were playing Clash Royale, so obviously, I'm not just on the game right now. So I'm going to end up going into Wendelin though, which is a very great switch in because Ursul is 4 times weak to Spirit. But as you can see, for some reason, he just wasn't aware that I'm pretty sure Wendelin's like to run Shadow Sprint for the priority and Clutch Plushie, but he just didn't seem to be aware that I was running what's it, Shadow Sprint, and he ended up staying in going for the Shadow Sprint as well, which I didn't go for the Shadow Sprint. I went for Fadeaway, but thanks to Clutch Plus, yeah, I live anyway. Just very weird situation right here. Now, obviously, him doing that is going to get his Arso killed. And because I went for Fadeaway, I could also switch out into something they could pivot really well, or either just absolutely nuke their team, which in case of nuke, that's going to be my Gar Golem. So my Gar Golem is going to come out, and I'm probably going to at least take down one Loomian here. Obviously, he's just sitting there trying to think about what to go into because why else would he just be sitting there looking at my beautiful Gargoyle for like 20 minutes? But the way I run Gargoyle is very scary. So now that he's on the field, he's gonna scare something out. As you can see, he's gonna go into Metronet because he had to think really long just to go into Metronet, because it's a very scary Lumion, But yeah, he's gonna go into Metronet, and this is gonna be a perfect time to go into Plasmoth because again, Plasmoth is a counter to Metronet or even a wall. So just watch. So he soul bursts and he uses his signature move, which I'm pretty sure is dark type, which we resist, and we ate that anyway. And for some reason, he thinks that his Metronet, because it's soul bursted, he thinks losing all that R defense is gonna still make him tank it by going for a peace of mind. But obviously not, because he's going to get one shot, and then Plasmoth is just going to absolutely dumpster his team from here. And obviously, after taking all that time thinking about what to go into, he ends up going into Zulong. Not sure what took him too long to think about going into Zulong. I mean, I guess his team is dead, so it really he has two choices. I guess that's kind of challenging, but he ends up going into Zulong. He ends up, I end up flashing flaming, and because obviously I'm gonna pivot out. I'm gonna go into something that's gonna revenge kill the Zulong. And if you guessed I was going to pivot into Gar Golem, which two shots his entire team, you are absolutely correct. So I end up going into Gar Golem, and I'm going to go for Landslide, obviously, because Landslide hits everything else on his team neutrally or super effectively. But at this moment, I didn't know exactly what Loomians he bought. I didn't know what he was hiding. I had was Imperior, and unfortunately, I have 45 base health. So, or is it 55? I have 50 something. I don't know. He ends up going into Imperior, and because Gargolem two shots or one shots everything on his team, I'm going to end up, kamikazing myself. I'm gonna end up dying. So that was a smart play on him. But now the last Lumion he also had hiding other than Imperior was Daroga. Now, obviously, with Metronet gone, there's not really anything else he has that's too scary on his team other than Daroga, which almost actually kind of won him the game because, I could have invested a little bit more in the R attack just to secure a one hit KO. But obviously, you're very tanky, so there's kind of no point. You're a tanky pivot, and I ended up doing a really bad misplay because I ended up going for Flash and Flee, and instead of Flash and Fleeing into Himber to, guarantee the kill, for some reason, I thought that 4 times negative resist Wendelin would be able to one-shot it, almost losing me the game. But I still won anyway because, I have Himber with dodge and he has like low energy. But it's still a bad play on my end. So obviously now that Wendelin is out, I'm going to go for a Shadow Sprint because as I said, for some reason I thought it was going to kill. And he's going to end up killing my Wendelin, so he's +4 now, and he's low on energy though, so obviously it might have looked bad anyway, but in the end, he loses anyway, which I don't think he understood that. But since he loses anyway, Draco Beam ends up missing, so it doesn't matter anyway because, like, in the end, he had no chance of winning this just because of energy alone. Unless there's no way, unless he had like Kabunga Coffee and somehow got a proc, which obviously he didn't. But that's end game. That's GG.